Welcome to Land Academy. This is the Cash Flow from Land show, where we show you how to buy unwanted vacant land and sell it for more on the internet. I'm Steve Butala.
I'm Jill DeWit. We are your hosts.
With over 15,000 completed transactions, we are the experts in this niche land flipping business.
We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at landacademy.com. All right, let's get this show started.
Steve Butala here for Land Academy. Welcome to our Cash Flow from Land show. In this episode, Jill and I talk about what to do with your thriving land success. Jill, it's so rewarding to see our members experiencing this and asking us, reaching out to us to help, for our help to help them manage their success in all this.
Love it.
Obviously, but I can't wait to talk about it. But before we do that, let's take a call.
Okay. Margaret from Ohio called in and asked this question. How long should escrow take to close a deal? Do you want to answer this one, Steve?
What do you
Because you've
think?
done so many. Well, I just did one. I just got it back in the mail. So,
I mean, this is such a moving target. Go ahead.
It is. I mean, I want to say anywhere from 10 to 30 days.
Yeah, that's probably a good number.
Because
it's 10 to 90 days, but it should be 10 to 30.
Right. Exactly. Like this one took about, this one could have been 10 days, but our seller went dark for a little bit because her mom passed on in the middle of it. Yeah. But once we got back on track, it was just another couple days. So it was easy. It was a cash transaction, and we had all the documents arranged, ahead of time, everything ready to go. So I guess the thing is, it's going to go quickly if you have all your ducks in a row. If you have the cash ready to go and you're ready to, overnight the money the minute they ask for it, number one, on your end. And then number two, your seller has all their paperwork ready to go as far as if it's in the name of a trust or, whatever it is, they have all those documents, in order to the
Right.
escrow agent. So that's my thing. And I love doing escrow deals. Seriously, don't you?
Well, everybody does.
I do both.
Everyone else does the work.
I know.
But,
I don't like paying for it.
No, here's the whole thing. Here's the theory, and then we'll talk about reality. The theory is, a regular real estate transaction that runs through escrow is a house, or even in commercial, there's lots of moving parts and lots of components. You have a buyer and a seller. Each of those parties usually have agents, so some type of real estate agent. Some even have attorneys if it's a bigger deal. Then there's a lender, and then there's usually a lender that has to be satisfied. So there's a lender that
wants appraisals.
There's a lender that's lending, and there's a lender that's being, satisfied, and the mortgage is being taken out. Right. Then there's appraisals. So our transactions, in comparison, there's a buyer and a seller and an escrow agent, and no lenders at all. You're either wiring money in or sending a cashier's check. And the escrow agent just has to simply get a signature signed on both sides. So you would think, this is what I mean. Theoretically, our transactions would just be the easiest to do ever. They would get right to this top because there's just no work to do, and there's only two other points of contact that the escrow agent has to make. For some reason, that's just not how it goes, and I'm not sure why.
Right.
I think there's more time limits and time constraints when lenders and other people get involved. And I think that real estate agents tend to want to get paid. So they're on the phone with the escrow agent every day saying, is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet?
And they're probably getting those calls from 10 different people doing this, yeah.
And even in the craziest downturn in real estate, I've never, every escrow agent that I've seen is busy. So yeah, it should happen really fast, but it just doesn't. So,
What's interesting too is I have to admit, even in this transaction, some are great, some are okay, some are maybe new, but this agent almost threw our deal, almost canceled the deal on us. I'm like, why would you do that? No. So it was really kind of funny that the escrow agent said, well, so-and-so died. Now we got to get this extra paperwork. So I'm sure the deal's done. No, that just means we're going to get the extra paperwork. And it was so great because the seller didn't want the deal to go away. I didn't want the deal to go away, so I'm like, I had to reel the escrow agent back in on this one here because they're going to get their money regardless. Once you start down that path, they're going to get paid. So
yeah, so there's two ways, in my opinion, that can really reduce your problems with the length of time that it takes to complete a deal. And the first one is get an escrow agent that you love to work with. So there's a single point of contact for you. So because you're the source of the deal, you're out there finding the sellers, and then try to run everything through that person. So even if you have a centrally located agent, like let's say they're right down the street from your house or your office, but that person's managing all your deals all over the country, that's very conceivable. I've had that in the past. We don't have that now. And then the second way is you just got to stay on top of them.
Mm-hmm. It's
just
true.
all there is to it. And be super nice. Send them candy and stuff.
Right.
Serious. As crazy as it sounds.
I know. I was just going to say. Cool.
So what was this show about?
So
what to do with your thriving land cash cow?
Can I say I came up with this topic today, and I'll tell you why?
Yes.
This is 100% my topic.
We're swamped.
And it's because I can't keep up. I just left my office and left my staff and said, I'll be back in a while. I'm going to go do some recording. And I probably have a good week solid. If I locked myself in my office, closed the door, turned off the lights, did not answer the phone and everything, I still have more than a week's worth of stuff to catch up with land stay in a good way.
Yeah,
I have so many people. I have people from 2 weeks ago. I haven't called them back because they want to sell me their land. I'm so behind.
And I know you have a bunch of people on your team working really hard for you too. But the thing is with you, Jill, is your percentages are so much better when you call them back personally.
That's the thing. I need to do it.
So there's only so many things you can outsource before you have to say, that's it.
Right.
They need to talk to me specifically. That's
a lot of it. And it's hard to, when you need to be in this business for a little bit, not long. You and I teach it, but it takes a little time to learn values and a little bit of, figuring out, what? You don't really have to, it's not really, how do I say this? You just have to know where to go to get the answers so much. You don't have to have I'm not a magician. I'm not,
right.
I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what every property is going to sell for, but I know all the good places to go to get a really darn good idea. And that you taught me and that we teach in our program.
So what do you mean? You mean a good idea about how to price it?
Mm-hmm. So part of my process is, yes, I have some people calling me want to sell their land. Well, that's only one little piece of the puzzle here. Now I got to figure out, okay, where is it? What is it? Does it have the 4 A's? Is it something I really want? Okay, now what do I want to pay for it? What's it really worth?
So what Jill's talking about is that here at Landstay, we send out a ton of offers. We've been talking, if you've listened to any other episode here, it's all we talk about. We try to talk about funny stuff too, and it's not working in this episode at all. But we send a ton of offers out to property owners that we identify pretty strategically, and then they all come back. A lot of them come back or they call back. And so it gets jammed up. Mm-hmm. And, Jill and anybody else in the business, all of our members, they need a mechanism, a really quick one to say, yeah, absolutely, I would be happy to pay you that, and please go forward with a deal. Or, I'm sorry, and this happens a lot because we've been doing this for years and years and years, when people call back on a letter from 4 or 5 years ago, and that area we're just not interested in anymore. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we're interested at a price.
Right.
And sometimes just no way.
Exactly.
But then if it's a Southern California 40-acre property, you really got to look at it.
Exactly.
It could have absolutely no access. Or it could be, you could make 10 times. So it takes some time to look at it, and it gets jammed up. That's a bottleneck.
It does.
So unless you have a 25-person staff, you have to do a lot of this stuff yourself. And the mechanisms are set up pretty well. Mm-hmm. You know what I think?
What's that?
Having said all of that, I really think that there are just some types of triggers that happen. I just think it comes down to sometimes you're super busy and sometimes you're not.
This is true.
I really think that.
I agree.
Like sometimes, like a year end will change it. Mm-hmm. Like
taxes
or
being
taxes.
due.
Yeah, no, right now it's
all
tax
kinds
time.
of things.
So, and people need cash for lots of reasons. But I do think there's sometimes like year end, people want to get rid of it.
Exactly.
But right now,
I'm just flooded, but it is so good.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, this is a good problem to have. I have, I had somebody reach out to
exactly
me. One of our Land Academy members recently reached out to me. He's like, okay, I'm looking for some of your properties. You talked about some. I can't find them online. I'm like, because they never made it online. So I have the opposite going on there, which is great, that I have no trouble, especially right now, with sellers or buyers. So it's just a quick thing. So I think that's why I wanted to bring this topic up, because what do you do? I guess that's the whole point. What do you do when you're like me and like my team and like us, that you could, burn the candle at both ends and, just get all these deals done, which is a really good thing. So I guess my thing is, try to calm down, try to relax. Don't start drinking.
Don't yell at a person when they come into your office
That's
and say,
right.
we were supposed to do a podcast a half hour ago.
Right. And don't scream at them. Exactly. I don't do that ever, but I do. I might give you a look like, now, really?
Right.
Really? So I'm like so busy. Set up a system. That's Steven's thing. And he's right.
Can I interject right there? Because that's the key. So here's my real world answer to that question. What do? You do burn the candle at both ends for a while. But people can only do it for so long. And then when there's a lull, or not a lull, but when it slows down, it's imperative to not kick your feet up on the desk, but spend as much energy as you did when it was crazy, but spend it on putting a system together that really works. Even maybe hiring a VA so you only use that person when you're super busy or something.
I was just going to add to that. When the system's so in place and now you still can't keep up by yourself, then you can outsource and hire some help.
Let's get to the brass tacks, though. Where's the bottleneck?
Where's the bottleneck?
Yeah, the people that listen to this show are really actually very familiar with what we do. So let's get really specific. I mean, here's the stages of a transaction. You reach out to a seller by mail. They call you back or they mail it back, and Jill picks up the phone and calls them. Mm-hmm. From there, what happens?
From there, I find out all the details of the property. I've done all that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So after that, now I got to research the property.
Okay, so you need to see if it's worth what they want.
Yep.
That's the bottleneck, I think.
If they even know what they want. So,
right.
Yeah.
Is that what you think it is, the bottleneck?
Yeah.
It's finding a map.
Yeah, you know what? That is the bottleneck, is making that initial decision. Because once you decide if you want it, if it's a good property and what price you're willing to pay, then it's an easy call to negotiate. And then from there, it's smooth sailing.
Right. So, and I don't know of any technology out there that's tied to an APN or assessor's parcel number where you can just throw it in there, look for 30 seconds and say, oh my gosh, yes, I really want that. You have to do, what we teach is that 3-part process. Mm-hmm. Well, so what do you do? Do you actually use the 3-part process?
I do.
So what are they?
I do. It's good. Right now I'm going through and researching with the county data, making sure it's the right ownership. First of all, making sure I'm talking to the right person, because I don't want to waste any more time if it's not the right anything. So I'm researching that. I don't know, just getting a feel for the property, getting the legal description. I get all of my little ducks in a row. How much the taxes are.
Okay.
What the assessed value is. Are the taxes current? I'm getting all that little county stuff out of the way first. But while I'm doing that, by the way, I'm looking at a lot of the counties have their own online mapping systems. It's GIS. It's a geographical information system. So you can get plat maps on there and even aerial maps. On a lot of the counties. I'm working with a couple right now. It's Riverside, Kern, and San Bernardino counties in California. And I can get some really good maps right there from the county site to see, gosh, what their structures are around, what roads are around. So that's already given me a good feel for the property. So that's what I'm doing. Next, that's my thing. I'm going looking for the properties and getting my own feel for it. And then my final step is I spend some time online finding what similar properties are what price similar properties are being bought and sold for. And then I'm going to make a decision based on that. That's the
key. That's the key for me. Mm-hmm. Does it have access? We talk about the 4 A's, but the number one thing I look for is does it have access?
Right.
And then the number 2 thing, if I had to do it all in 3 minutes, I would say, does it have access? And what are very similar properties being listed and sold for? Mm-hmm. You can find that on LandWatch. So access you can find on GIS usually. Mm-hmm. And then you can get a real good idea.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, but geez, it's profitable.
It is, and if you just, there are, like you said, there's a lot of moving parts, and we teach you how to do that in a real good way and get into a system. And then once you do, that's it. I mean, this still is something that someone could have a day job and then do on the side.
Oh yeah.
They could be doing this all on the weekends and then make their offers, on their lunch breaks.
We do this to ourselves. We choose to send a bajillion letters out. Mm-hmm. But, people like Seth Williams at RE Tipster, he does 8 or 10 deals a year. Mm-hmm. And he's just a slam dunk. So he knows he makes 10 grand on them. And he makes, an extra $100,000 a year. And he said with a teaspoonful of effort.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Hey, I know you're busy. Join us in another episode where Jill and I discuss your all-important success in land investment and in life. I know you're super busy. Just say something super funny.
I hope that helped. I know what I feel like. I feel like I'm talking 90 miles an hour because that's how we really live, though. Bogged down right now. But it's like, it's the good kind of thing. It's like, it's pretty hard to walk around unhappy and stressed when you have so much on your plate and you're watching your bank account go up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, I'm just talking to Erin in our office. I'm like, hey, did that guy pay on Friday? She says, oh yeah, will you please check it, make sure it went through? I'm like, yep, it's there.
Yeah.
And then someone else just checked out on something on eBay. I'm like, okay, that's coming in,
Wow.
So that's the thing. Everybody, clearly the economy is doing well and people are feeling good because they are buying a lot of good stuff. And I'm really happy.
That's great. Usually I end the show by saying, hey, let's go buy some property, but that seems silly after what we just talked about.
That's true. Hey, let's go buy. What should we go buy?
Let's not suffer from buying property.
That's it. We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at landacademy.com.
If you want to get involved or you need more information about our profitable, niche real estate operation, call 480-467-0359. You just might get Jill at the other end of the line.
Landacademy.com. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.